Hey everybody, thanks for listening to Dadsplained. I wanted to take a quick second away from the show and kind of thank one of our sponsors. It's actually my store that I run, Kennedy Aquariums in Batesville, Arkansas, where we make waves from our home to yours. Come check out the store at 930 23rd Street. Hours are Wednesday through Friday, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., and Saturday from 2 to 6. Thank you, and thanks for listening to the show. Oh, me. All right. It's hot. I'm hot. I just got done working the fish store. I'm actually not even open today. I'm just coming in to clean up the tanks, get those ready for the week. This is Sean Kennedy. This is Dadsplained TV, at least is what we're calling it right now. It's subject to change. I haven't really fully decided on sticking with it or not, but it is the title for now. Basically today, I'm just kind of going to go over some things real fast and update people of what's been going on, the history of the show, what the point of the show is. I'm going to try to keep it short, sweet, to the point. This was actually supposed to be recorded last week, but it didn't happen just because of the fact that Seth come by. Seth is a guy I work with. His name's Seth Rabitsky. He's somebody that kind of wanted to join in and get his share out, and I think he's going to be a regular staple of the show. But this one, I wanted to just be kind of a more one-on-one, and just me kind of explaining the point of the show and what's going on with it. So basically, I love, recording as far as like movies, I like television, but I like it more than just watching. I like the behind the scenes part. I've always kind of strived to be funny. I love being funny. Being funny and making something comedic is more important to me than anything else. So I will always try to find the light of any situation and get people to smile, especially when they're down. I've always been somebody that goes out of my way to make sure somebody that's going through a tough time gets through it as easy as possible. I may not always have the monetary ability to help someone out, but I definitely can help them out emotionally if I can in any way, and I try to any way I can. But I went through some rough times, and so there's a lot of times when I wish that someone would have done the same for me. So I kind of had this idea of putting things together, not only the acting side of what I wanted to do with my life, and the helping side and the comedic side and everything all into one. So the original idea and why it's called Dadsplained TV is because I wanted to make a show. I wanted to do like maybe some sketch comedy, some skits, just some talk parts, things like that. And then also in this time period of me thinking about all this, also I can't stand watching the news. So I wanted to, because every time you turn on the news, it's always bad things going on, and no one ever talks about good stuff that's going on. So I wanted to add in a news element to this show, because it was going to be like comedy, there was going to be some news, there was going to be some talking, just general conversation about being a dad, going through life, or just being a guy, or being a woman, or whatever, whoever I can get on the show that would want to talk, being a mom, being a business owner, being different walks of life, and just have those people on the show and talk to them about certain things. And then some things changed, and I realized my schedule is way too busy as it is already to do a show. So I backed it down to pretty well just going to be a podcast or an audio sample or any kind of format where someone can just listen, because I know I do it a lot. If I'm busy, if I'm working in my store and on a day I'm closed, I'll turn on a podcast and listen to it. Or if I'm driving, just about any time I drive, I listen to a podcast or talk radio or what have you. So that's kind of what it's diverted down to, but it's still the same principle behind the show. So that's kind of where I'm going with it. So yeah, I probably won't talk too much today about my past, but just know that it wasn't good. What led to the life I'm in now, but everything is really good now. And it's not just one instance in the past that was bad. There's been several things that's led up to where I'm at now, but I've got a great job. I love working where I work. It's something I never thought I was going to do. I work at a dealership right now in the parts department, and being in parts has kind of been something in my family for as long as I can remember. And if I remember being a kid, I remember people asking, because my dad done it my entire life, people would ask, well, you're gonna fill in your dad's shoes one day, and I would have told them that they were liars, because I would never do this. I never wanted to do it, but it turns out that's the way the chips fell, and I'm really good at it, and I don't want to leave because I don't know if I could do anything else. But also, I've always wanted to own my own business, apart from the several hundred, it seems, career choices I've wanted to go down. Business has been one of them, rather. And so I decided to start running my own business. That actually happened in February of 2017 is when I actually got the business, but just recently is when it finally started to take a big turn and be a big push in my life toward making it something. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. So apart from working full-time, 45 minimum hours a week, during my day job, then all the time spent running my business that I run at night during the week and on the weekends, plus trying to juggle doing this podcast, I stay fairly busy. And truthfully, I like it that way. I feel like the more busier I am, the more I can usually get done. And I think a lot of other people can relate to that too. It's that same principle where if you get a job sitting down all the time, your body deteriorates and you become weaker, and it's harder to do things outside. But it'd be different if you were outside. If you were doing a job, actually doing a labor-intensive job, you would stay in fairly good shape. It would be hard for you to sit down. So truthfully, the busier I stay, I actually thrive on it, I think. Sometimes the pressure gets to me, and then I think everybody kind of has that moment where the pressure gets to them really hard, and they have their moment where they freak out. But I don't think I would rather have it any other way. I really enjoy what I do. For the most part, I have my days where I don't like working at the dealership, and then there's days where I don't really want to do anything else, and I have days where I think, maybe I need to shut down the store because I don't really want to do it anymore. And then there's other days like it's all I want to do. I would love to be able to just say, throw caution to the wind and take the store full time and just see where it goes. But yeah, I just like staying busy. So I actually just got done cleaning the tanks out. That's a chore in itself. That's about an hour-long process of doing, let's see, there's 12 tanks on the rack, 2 tanks on another stand, 1 tank that's display, and then 1 tank that's got live plants in it. So that's 14, 15, 16 tanks that I have to drain at least a third of the water out in all of them at the very least, and then replace. And I do that once a week. And so it's a chore. Luckily, though, they make a pretty good system to do it. There's better ways to do it than I do it, but I was doing it an even harder way before now. So it actually cuts down the time by about 45 minutes the way I do it now. So now it only takes me about an hour. So yeah, it's actually not too late right now, and I can actually go home, but I've kind of stepped into my office part of it, and I think this is where I'm going to try to do these podcasts from, because it's the only quiet time I have to myself, really. But I just kind of wanted to go over the idea of the podcast today. So if you're interested in wanting to be on the show, if you've got something that you think would be interesting to talk about, feel free to message me either on the Facebook page, through YouTube. I'm not hard to get a hold of. I'm probably friends with you on Facebook, so you can get a hold of me that way too. Just get a hold of me. If you've got something that you think you want on the show, or even if you want to promote something, let me know. I mean, I'm taking anybody that wants to be on it, so no one's better than anyone else. So feel free. We'll see what we can work out, a schedule we can work out. I don't know what the schedule is going to be as far as how often I'll post. It's probably going to be once a week, but it may be more. It just kind of depends. I don't really know. I don't have a set schedule yet. I'm still playing that by ear, because it'll depend on how often I can actually take a breath and do this. Time on these things, I really don't want to push longer than an hour, because I don't think anybody's going to listen to something longer than an hour, because people get intimidated when they see an audio file or a video and they see it's like an hour long. I'm sure it kind of shies people away, because nobody wants to invest that long of a time and just listening to somebody talk. So I want to keep these kind of short and sweet. I don't definitely want to push them on time. So anyway, that's the whole premise of the show. Just talk, bring up good news, let people know what's going on in my life, and kind of talk about topics that are just good-hearted, just wholesome things, like this weekend. This weekend we took family photos on, that would be Sunday, and they were great. My girlfriend now knows some people that take photos, and they're really good at it, and they're really nice people, so it makes it really easy, The only hard part is having two children that want to do what they want to do, and they're not really there to take pictures. One's only 4 months old, and the other is 2 years old. So it's basically like herding stray cats. Neither one of them really knows what they want to do, but they do know for sure that they don't want to take pictures, because they make it really difficult. And so my daughter, the only thing she was concerned with was playing at the park, because I had the bright idea of, let's do them at the park, that'll be fun. There'll be stuff everywhere. There's jungle gym and the train. There's a like a real size train car down there, like right off in the park where we live is right next to a river. So I mean, it's just really pretty scenery, but of course, my mind slipped me because the only thing my daughter wanted to do was play on the playground. So as soon as she saw that, the one picture we got, that was over. So it was really hard to keep her attention. So it was basically take a picture, she would get up and take off running, and I'd have to go chase her, pick her up, take her back to where we were taking pictures, try to get another one in before she runs away again. And the whole time she's screaming and crying because she doesn't want to take pictures. And then we have to tickle her until she laughs, take a picture, and then she takes off crying again because she wants to play. So basically, I'm pretty positive that's the way anybody's family photos go. They're all fake. None of it's real. There's no way anybody that you see their picture on just the display frames that you can buy at a store, and they have this beautiful family portrait in there to kind of show you how cool and how nice that your family portrait would look inside this frame. It's bullshit. There's no way that they were happy. There's no chance. Maybe the mom and dad were happy because they were getting paid to be there, but the kids didn't want to be. And the only reason that they smiled was because somebody bribed them into getting a Dum Dum or a Tootsie Roll when this is over. As long as you just smile for 10 seconds and we get a couple snapshots, I'll give you a bag of Tootsie Rolls. So they'll smile like crazy. I didn't have Tootsie Rolls to bargain, nor Dum Dum Pops. The only thing that I had in my back pocket as a bargaining chip was the playground we were already at that I was pulling her away from, which didn't really sit too well, because she knew that if she took one, she was just going to get ripped away from the playground again. So I had no bargaining chip, so it was really hard to do this. But luckily we pulled it off. We got a few photos. Some of them were okay, some of them not so great, but it's just the way it goes, and I think it looks better because it's more realistic. So that was better off for me. Technically, today, I was supposed to be taking modeling photos, some headshots. That didn't really pan out because I need a haircut like crazy, and I haven't been able to get anywhere to get a haircut. So that got postponed, allowing me to do this today. So we got picture Sunday, not today on me, because I wanted to kind of send them off and just kind of, it doesn't cost anything to send them off. It costs for the photos, but hey, you know, I know a guy that takes photos professionally. So I guess I know several people that take photos now that I think about it, but the guy I was going to have take the photos I work with, and I know he does great work. He's got a studio. We were going to take some. It's nothing to send them off. If they need me for anything, it's all local, or at least within a 2 to 3 hour driving distance. We'll see where it goes. I wouldn't be opposed to driving 2 hours away to try to do a modeling shoot or even a small commercial. I think it'd be fun. At least it would let me get the itch scratched for wanting to be an actor of some sort. So at least I could do that, and I could see, well, is this something I really want to try to keep doing, or do I just want to go ahead and call this off now? But so that was the way that was going to work, but that didn't get to happen because I look like the woolly mammoth when I take my hat off. It's just jerry curls and just white hair, and I'm only 24, so stress will bring white hairs on you. Stress comes from lots of things: life events, age, children, money issues, just chaos, work, running your own store. So at 24 years old, I'm about to grayed out in hair already, and I'm trying to keep it dyed. Not a lot of people know that, but I try to keep it dyed. I'm sure it's obvious sometimes, but honestly, sometimes I don't even have time to sit down and dye my hair. Usually I get home and shower, eat, go to bed, and that's about my process just about any time. Just about every day. So, but like I said, I love the life I live, and I like the way this goes, and truthfully, I wouldn't really rather have it any other way. Because if I didn't have it this way, I wouldn't have my daughter, and I wouldn't have the girlfriend I have now, and I wouldn't have the stepson I have now, if that's what you want to call him. A long story on that subject, but my girlfriend had found out she was pregnant like a week or two after we met, I think it was. And so our entire relationship has been her pregnant and then with a child. And then, of course, I had my daughter at the time. So we both kind of had to settle for 2 different kids. But it's okay. I love kids and I love children, even though for a long time I struggled with taking care of my own because I was new and didn't know what I was doing, and it terrified me, and I had no patience at all, and still struggle with patience, but I'm definitely a lot better than it was. And so life comes at you fast when you have a kid, you know, and you think it comes fast. I married really young, and so it made things move really fast. Getting married, and of course when I got married there was also a young boy involved in that situation too, who I helped have a small part in raising for a few years, or however long it was. And so yeah, you learn that you have to either figure it out or you will sink. There's no swimming, or no in between. It's either you swim or you sink. There's nothing else you can do. You can doggy paddle all you want, but eventually you're going to the bottom if you don't start figuring out how to do some breaststroking and some butterflies, because you're going to go down. So truthfully, when everything split apart, I think it was better for me, because I had to learn how to be a dad. There was no other choice, because I was struggling with it. And so it come down to figure it out, and I did, and I figured it out, and I do phenomenally well. I will brag on myself. I think any good parent would. It's been a struggle. It was a big learning curve, but I've come around, and I think it goes to show, how much my daughter truly loves being with me and loves doing stuff together with me, and she loves coming to the store and seeing the fish, and we get along great. We've got more than like a daddy-daughter relationship. I think we're like best friends, and we play, and that's the best thing you can do, is just have the best relationship with your kids you can. Discipline them when you have to, but at the same time, they're still kids, and you gotta let things go sometimes, and just let them be them. But at the same time, don't be afraid to bust that ass if you have to. At least that's in my opinion. Some people think it different, and that's fine too. That's another thing I've come to realize being a parent. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. You're right in your own way, and someone else is right in their own way. I think as long as kids are disciplined when they need to, and have a good support system, whether it be they're in the home when they're mom and dad, or whether they have to split their time, as long as the parents are disciplining when they need to and taking care of them how they're supposed to, there's no right or wrong way. Everybody's gonna get raised good as long as the parents do what they need to do. And as far as I'm concerned, really the hardest part is, disciplining them in the way that suits the child best. Of course, there's different ways to do it. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. Sometimes, spanking is justified, sometimes it's not. It depends. It depends on the level of behavior, the bad behavior. Everybody sees fit differently. So as long as the kid's disciplined for bad actions and behaviors, and knows the causes and effects of what happens, knows right from wrong, as long as you can handle that, taking care of that, feeding them and watering them, they're pretty simple. I think a lot of people get stressed out for no reason. At least I did for a long time, until I realized it really wasn't that hard. I was just making it hard. A lot of new parents, at least in what I've seen, stress out over small things. They get up in a panic because they read something online. But what I have noticed is, kids are really tough. Babies, infants, toddlers, children, they're tough. They don't want to die. They don't want to misbehave. They just don't know. So you have to tell them. You have to make sure that they don't do anything too stupid that they'll get hurt, or worse. But for the most part, kids are tough. I mean, really tough. You just got to let them do their own thing, and let them figure certain things out. And as long as you keep your hand on either side of them to direct them, to make sure they're still walking in the right direction, that's all that matters. And they'll, I think, in my opinion, they'll come around to liking you better for that. And sometimes I even struggle with that, my own concept on that, because I hate watching my daughter, going into a situation where she really could get hurt. Because just the other day we got a bed. I got a bed from somebody I work with. Gave me a bed that has a ladder and a slide and things like that. And he told me all about it. And never once in my mind did I think it'll be too tall. I thought, this thing, my daughter's maybe 3 foot tall. Maybe. I don't even know if she's that tall. But I thought, surely this thing's not too big. It's just a little slide. I was thinking little play bed. Well, boy, was I wrong by the time I got that put together. Like, this thing, the mattress is probably 4.5 feet off the ground. So I was petrified. Absolutely petrified. Especially watching her stumble around on the bed, getting over to the slide, because of course the first thing she saw was the slide. So all she wanted to do was slide. So up the ladder she goes, stumbling across the bed, because you can't walk on a bed without losing your balance at least 3 times. Trips over a pillow that's on the bed, almost falls off the rail. I shit my pants, terrified of what's fixing to happen. And then she just laughs, gets up, slides down the slide. The little boy thinks it's absolutely hilarious, which, guess what, fuels the fire for her to run back to the ladder and climb up and do it again. And the whole time, all I can do is stand there, biting my nails, quivering at the knees, sweating to death, and damn near shitting myself every time. But all I can do is try to catch her if she falls, because I gotta let her do her thing. If she's having a good time, she's not doing anything wrong, she's not falling. The little boy thinks it's hilarious. What are you supposed to do? Just let it go. Put a helmet on and let her go. And that's the kind of things you got to do. That's the kind of things you got to watch out for. As long as you got them in the right direction, they'll do what they need to do. Speaking of little boy, he got moved to a new daycare today, and I think it's going to work out real good. He's actually going to a church daycare and got a bunch of kids his age, and he was doing an in-home babysitter situation, but a spot opened up and he was able to leave that and go into an actual daycare with a curriculum kind of sorts. Even though he's 4 months old, there's not really a curriculum, but there's toys that he can learn with. There's other kids his age. They classify them or put them in age groups, and have several teachers in there that do an excellent job of taking care of the kids. And they really, truthfully, it's a really good deal for the price you get, because they provide all the wipes and the formula, and all you got to do is give them the directions. Basically just hand them the kid and hand them the directions and let them figure it out from there. And he loved it. We got some pictures during the day of him being there, and I think it worked out really good. I truly do. I think it's going to be okay, and I'm glad. I would rather him be there anyway, truthfully, just in my opinion. In-home daycare works, and it's great for short-term situations, but I think long-term situations, I think that's the way to do it. Just for the fact that you're getting some people that are held to a really high standard, and they have the ability to do some learning there, which, don't get me wrong, I can't speak for every in-home babysitter, because there's probably thousands, if not millions, out there that do a better job than most daycares. But just in this particular situation, this daycare is exceptionally well and really good, and me and my girlfriend both know that. So, and that's the way he went, and man, he loved it today. The only thing I can hope is they don't start upcharging us for formula, because the kid's 4 months old and 22 pounds and eats like a damn horse. So I'm only dreading when he gets older and really starts eating people food, because I like to eat myself, and unfortunately, having a child, they get to eat before I do, and so if he starts eating all my damn food up, he's going to have to start, chipping in. He's going to have to get a job at 12, and that's just going to be the way it is. So hopefully he kind of controls himself as he gets older, but I don't know that that's going to happen. I think the boy's going to be big. And if he chooses to play football, I guess we'll go do football. If he chooses to sit at home, we'll sit at home. But I'm sure that being a big old boy, he's going to be try to pulled and pushed to go onto the football field. And if that's the way he chooses, that's the way he chooses. I hope he rides dirt bikes like I did. But we'll see where that goes from there. But I gotta say, I rode dirt bikes and I loved it, but I don't know what I'd think if I saw one of my kids on a dirt bike. I would probably lose my effing mind. I don't even know what to think if my daughter was to come up to me and say that she wanted to ride one. Luckily, she can't speak that well yet, so that's not really going to happen. That's, the future only knows. The future can only tell. Anyway, I'm going to get off here and call it a night. I appreciate you listening. If you did, please stay tuned. Please stay tuned and listen to the end of this podcast. And just listen to a word from the sponsors. And once again, please feel free. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do sponsors at the beginning of this show. There's no point in doing it at the end. So don't worry about listening to the end of the show. Have a good night. And let me know if you want to be on the show. And we can just talk. We can do an interview. If you got something you want to tell us about, feel free to tell us about. This is going to get published on YouTube. It's going to be shared on Facebook. So there's going to be lots of chances for getting your word out there, getting the name of whatever you got going on out there. Or if you just want to talk and cut up, that's good too. This has been Dadsplained TV, at least as we're calling it for now. Have a good night.